The secrets of financial security, actually, and it was basically centered around ways to know if you're financially secure or not, how to acquire financial security. This is something that you really should have been taught when you were a little kid, because in case you don't know, I'm assuming most of you are aware. Financial insecurity is linked to a lot of other problems. It's linked to health problems. It's linked to relationship problems. It's linked to mental health breakdowns. People break down psychologically when the money's not right. And so ultimately, when you take care of your economic health, you're taking care of all forms of health. And again, that's why I don't understand why you spend all the time in school learning about Edgar Allan Poe before you learn how to not go crazy in this society. And that really leads me down to another train of thought that I think America should really be ashamed of itself. I'm not a capitalist. I had a debate with my brother-in-law, who's a really smart guy, who is he did a lot of stuff with stocks and options and things like that. He's a super smart, like genius level intelligent. And he said, and I said, yeah, I'm not a capitalist. He said, yes, you are. I said, no, I'm not. He said, yes, you are. I think he was alluding to the fact that I teach about money. And I'm like, no, the more I learn about money, the more I realize I'm not a capitalist. I'm not going to say I'm a Marxist. I don't even like being put in a box. That's one thing that I hate is sort of like how we have these labels, like we have to be a part of some group that was defined by white people, and I just refuse to participate. But anyway, the reason that I say that I insist I'm not a capitalist is because capitalism is very unhealthy. Extreme capitalism, not all capitalism. See, that's the other thing too. Everybody wants to go to the extreme. Everybody wants to say, yeah, capitalism's terrible and that's why we should burn it down. Or capitalism is the only reason for racism and that's it. Yeah, capitalism overlaps with racism 100%. Capitalism will exploit you no matter what you look like. And if race is a way for capitalism to steal more money from you, then absolutely, they will exploit racism without caring about the impact of the economic decision making or whatever, or why the capitalism doesn't care why it won. It only cares that it wins. Do you get the difference there? It's not like capitalism says I must be a racist no matter what. No, if racism were expensive, then capitalism would not be racist, right? If racism were suddenly costly, then capitalism would say, "Oh no, I don't care nothing about that. I want to be anti-racist because that makes more money." So capitalism just fights for the highest bidder. It's like a paid mercenary who says, "Look, yeah, I'm a killer, but I don't need to kill that guy. If you pay me to kill that guy, then I'll go kill him. I'm going to kill the person I'm being paid to kill." Do you understand? Does that make sense? Right? So when people say capitalism is just sort of the root of racism, it's like, yeah, it's connected because it was very profitable to hold slaves. Yeah, it's connected because it was very profitable to steal money from black people because they were vulnerable. Yeah, it's profitable because it's more profitable to brainwash black children when they're little and get them to become consumers so they'll give you all their money. But if it were more profitable to do something else, it would do something else. So with capitalism, my relationship with capitalism is pretty complex, I guess, because that comes with the territory of being a finance professor. But I can just tell you, I encourage you to be really thoughtful about not letting people put you in these goofy little boxes. You're a socialist, you're a Marxist, you're a capitalist, you're whatever. No, no, no. I think the only box I accept, and I think the only box you should consider accepting, in my opinion, is if you want to put yourself in the black box, meaning that you prioritize your blackness, meaning that you're black first, you care about your community first, you care about your family first. So if you want to label me, fine. You can label me as Boyce Watkins. That's the first thing. You can label me as the head of my household. That's the second thing. You can label me as a black man. Sure, absolutely. I'll accept that because I'm down for the cause. Outside of that, don't be labeling me as no Democrat or Republican. Don't be labeling me as a capitalist, Marxist, all that stuff. And definitely don't be labeling me as somebody's employee. Because the more of these labels that you accept, the more you lose who you are. You should be deciding who you're going to be instead of letting the world tell you these things. And talk about slapping labels on people. We were talking the other day in a previous class about how these luxury brands get you so addicted to wanting the label. You want the label, and that you'll sacrifice for the label. You'll go spend $2,000 on a Hermes bag that could have literally made your child into a millionaire in 30 years, but you'll go drop the 2 grand on the Hermes bag because you need that label. They sold you a label for a product that was made for $150 in China, right? So ultimately, when you let people get in your head and tell you who you are before you tell yourself who you are, you're going to end up being a sucker. You're going to end up getting sucked in can, and don't raise your kids into suckers. Let me know if we can agree on this. Let's stop raising little suckers. Let's you step in and you tell those kids who they are. If you tell them who they are before the world tells them who they are, then the world won't be able to exploit them as easily. They won't come up and say, "Hey, give me $3,000 and I'm gonna give you a nice purse. Give me 2,000, I'll give you some red bottoms." Yeah, well, I don't give a damn if my shoes got red bottoms. My shoes are black bottoms, and I'm proud of my little black bottom shoe. You know what? I think they're black. You can kind of see it. They're black and white bottoms, and I bought these damn shoes at Walmart. Don't play with me. I got these shoes at Walmart, $22.99, and I've had them for 3 years. You son of a bitch. If you're trying to get me to be a sucker, you're not doing that to me. Excuse my French. It's too early to be cussing. Okay, stop it, boys. All right, let's get focused here. All right, so let's let's talk about some other economic concepts. In case you don't know, in case you're new, what we do is every morning we get together and we talk about money. This is what I call conversational learning. My father did this with me. This is how my father taught me, and this is what I like. I like talking about life and then throw in the economic lessons in there, right? So sometimes we might talk about something over here, something over there, but it always comes back to an economic lesson. So if you want to know what that lesson was, the lesson is that money and psychology are connected. In fact, one of the reasons why I'm so grateful that my wife helped me to create the first ever Black financial therapy department in the Black Business School is because this is what we need. We need therapists that can come in and explain to us, break down, dissect, analyze deeply how they ran the rope a dope on you. Like how in the hell did you convince millions of people to get up and go to work every day religiously, to go to school and get high levels of education? Black women have the most education of any group of people in America, but yet most of them are dying in debt. That black wealth is still going down with the amount of work that we put in, the amount of classes that we take and degrees that we acquire, the amount number of years you put into serving the corporation. Your wealth should be skyrocketing. Everybody should be dying with a net worth of no less than $1 million. But for some reason, it's like negative. It's going negative. How does that happen? How do all these millions of black college graduates end up with a negative net worth? Well, you have to dissect that, right? You go back to the student loans, but then it's not like, why do you have a negative? When you say, you got to keep asking the layers of why. I got a little smart little niece, and I love her because when I ask her a question, she'll say, "What did you do this morning?" I said, "I went to the store," and she'll go, "Why?" And I'll be like, "Because I wanted to get some candy bars," and she'll be like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I don't know, because I like candy bars." "Why?" "Because I want to be fat, and it's because the sugar dopamine rush. It makes me feel emotionally less vulnerable, right? Whatever, right?" So she digs to the root. She's 5 years old. How about that? How cool is that? So really, but that's a technique, right? You got to say, like, don't just say, "Why did it happen?" You got to go three levels. You got to say, "Well, why did it happen?" Okay, but why is black wealth going down? Well, because millions of black college graduates graduate from school and they are buried in student loan debt and they can't get out of that debt. Why are they buried in the student loan debt? Well, because they all went to college and that was important. Well, why did they all go to college and spend all this money? Well, because they all feel like they have to do it. Well, why do they all feel like they have to do it? Well, because white people told us to do it, and we worship white people, and they whenever they tell us to jump, we say, "How high, master?" We just do that. That's what it goes deep, right? You gotta keep asking why until you get to the psychology, until you get to the emotion, until you get to the core root reason why you're doing things. Because what people don't talk about much is that the word why is one of the most powerful words in the universe. The word why explains almost everything that exists in your life and in your reality. And the reason it's important for you to say why for your own life is because if you look at America, and I'm going to get to another topic that really want to discuss. I want to talk about how Trump is destroying the economy. It's really fascinating to watch. If you go why, then what happens is you can really dissect what's going on in this country. Here's what's happening in America. America's the richest country in the world, but we have massive amounts of economic inequality. Everybody ain't doing good. A lot of people are doing really bad. And when this AI takes off, Lord Jesus, y'all have no idea. Y'all have no idea. The AI developments, every morning I see a new development in AI every day, every day. Um, they can. They can do things with robots, where the robots now, this was one problem that the scientists had was that they could not fully simulate the physics of the real world in a virtual training, like virtual training, right? Because it's hard to get the physics right. They just figured out how to do that. And what the reason that's important is because now they can download in about 20 seconds a video of a robot doing a flip, and the real life robot will watch the video, and in 20 seconds he knows how to do a flip. Right. So that's one example. There's so many other things. I could just keep going, but I'm not going to keep going. We could talk about that on a different day. But I'm telling you, when AI really takes off, it's going to lead to an economic catastrophe unlike anything you've ever seen. It is the most world-changing technology that I've ever seen in my life, and I've been around for a few years. With that said, um, if you look at America as it stands even before AI, you had a country that was the richest country in the world with massive amounts of inequality, millions of workers, where the average wage of the American worker, adjusted for inflation, has not gone up in 40 years. At the same time, CEO pay has gone up about 1,300% because people at the top are making the most money. That's why I tell you everybody needs to be invested in stocks, no exceptions. You have to do that if you want to build wealth. But then on top of that, you've got these other side effects that come from the extraordinarily problematic way that we're trained and educated in this society. Um, Americans are the fattest on earth. We're the sickest. We also we have the high among the highest divorce rates, not the highest, but we're up there in divorce rates. We have a massive spike in like single parent households. And then you can keep going down the mental health kind of shot. A lot of Americans, they are really, really broken. Even white men are very sad right now, right? And it's really fascinating. So what that says to me is that there is no sort of training on life. I really think, and also we're not very well educated in public schools. Most of the public school kids, especially our kids, we know what they're doing to the kids in the public schools. So my point is to say that if you want to fix that, you're going to have to get your own personalized educational protocol. And it has to be centered around the things that matter for you, the things that are going to be important for you. And the same thing is true with kids and grandkids. Um, you know, in mathematics, when I taught math at the University of Kentucky, there was a a technique I never forgot called dynamic optimization. And what we would do is what we learned is that if you want to solve a problem, you start at the end, you start at the solution, and then you work your way backwards. You figure out where am I trying to get to, and then you work backward, and then you define each step based on where the finish line is. So with education, it should be done in a dynamic optimization framework. And don't let that term confuse you. But basically, all it means is that when you're choosing to educate yourself on something, you shouldn't just dive into it because somebody told you to do it. You shouldn't just go learn something because because you were in school and they said, well, read this book and learn this and learn that. No, you should say, well, okay, what happens if I've got a 6-year-old, I'm trying to educate him? What's going to matter to this 6-year-old when he's 36? When he's a 36-year-old, what's going to be important to him and what's the criteria for him to have a successful life? Do you follow me? Let me know if you follow me. I hope I'm not talking over anybody's heads. And so if you look at what a 36-year-old is worried about, a lot of internet conversations are circled around dating. They don't know what they're talking about. There's a lot of really bad advice floating around on the internet right now with dating because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're not listening to the therapist, and all this is in a book. Somebody's written about this stuff. They have experts that can do this, but we don't listen to the experts. We listen to the people that sound the best. But a lot of the people that give relationship advice have terrible relationships in their own lives, but they sound good on the internet. So it's all entertainment based. Also, what else is he going to be thinking about at 36? Well, if he's got kids or she's got kids, she's going to be trying to figure out how to raise the kids. Maybe a class on child rearing would have been beneficial for that person. Maybe a class on how to pick the right person to raise a child with would have been beneficial for that person. A lot of people get somebody pregnant or whatever, and next thing you know, their lives are ruined because you picked her because she had a nice booty, or you picked him because he was 6 feet tall, but you didn't think about the other 25 different criteria you should have considered when deciding if you want to be a life partner in the most important business that you'll ever start, the business of family, the business of child rearing, the business of legacy, right? So a lot of legacies get ruined because we're not trained even on what it means to build a legacy, on the structured thinking required to do that. But yet you went to school for 3 years to learn how to how to be an accountant or something, right? So you studied that intensely, but you didn't study the thing that actually matters in your life, which is, and you didn't study the thing that's going to ruin your life, right? So what else would that kid need to learn? Well, they probably need to learn something about health and nutrition. In Japan, they don't have a lot of fat kids like we do in the United States. U.S., we've got a lot of children that have diabetes, which is just insane. They don't have that in Japan really. They just it's very, very rare. And if you look at why, it's not coincidental. It's because every school's required to have a nutritionist, and they make their food fresh in the school. And also they train their children on nutrition at an early age. Like, don't eat this, eat that, right? So just like you say no to drugs, you learn crack is bad. If you imagine if you went to school every morning, they gave you crack, baby crack, to kind of get you started, right? And then next thing you know, you're thinking crack is normal. Well, they look at different foods like crack, too much sugar, too much whatever, and you look at how many people die from cancer that's connected directly to sugar, and how many people are addicted to sugar and just, morbidly obese, don't exercise, and don't consider that to be a problem or a priority, and then are unable to make the connection, right? When something happens and the diabetes kicks in, or the heart attack or the stroke, we run to church and we say, Jesus, please make this go away. But Jesus is like, well, you should have known that. But when you ate all that fried chicken and those candy bars, that these things are connected. Didn't nobody tell you that? Didn't nobody tell you that? Right? So again, I'm not making fun of anybody, but you know how we get. We'll go run and pray to white Jesus, black Jesus, baby Jesus, whatever Jesus we can pray to. But I really think that some structured thinking around these things would be important, right? So you talk about education. I think education should be centered around the things that you want to do well. That's my point. The things you want to do well. If you talk about the area of economics, which isn't economics is not as important as health and relationships, but they're all connected. If you talk about the area of economics, why in the world is it not the case that every single black child in America doesn't understand what wealth is, how wealth works, what it means, where to get cash flow from in a legal, safe way, how to assess the risk of various financial decisions that you make. What I see in many cases is people, they it doesn't take long for them to desire money. They really want money. Money is very important. Rappers rap about money. Women will date men because of money. Men will do dangerous things in order to acquire money. People will kill themselves over money. They will destroy their relationships over money. So to me, if money is your God on that level, like if you are willing to die over money, if you're willing to kill over money, if you are destroying your family relationships over money, then you should probably learn an efficient way to acquire money. Because one of the things that you would then learn is that one of the hardest ways on earth to make money is getting up and going to work every day at a job. In fact, if you look at the statistics, most statistics say that people that believe that working every day at a job is the best way to get money, they tend to, if you look at their net worth and their economic health, they tend to not be very economically healthy. It's almost like a person who thinks that they can, like, I'm going to be healthy. Well, what do you eat every day? I eat a Whopper, and then I go eat a Big Mac, and then I go and I eat four candy bars and drink a big large soda. That person wasn't trained in what to eat in order to be healthy, right? So then they say, well, gosh, I'm working out every day. I'm at the gym all the time, but I keep getting fatter. Well, because nobody taught you that those candy bars and that Burger King that you eat every morning is countering all the hard work you're putting in, right? It's shutting down, it's neutralizing all of the effort that you're putting in to be healthy. So you're kind of hustling backward. Right. So a lot of times you'll have somebody that says, I don't understand why I'm not financially secure. I do the right things. I go to work every day. I work my butt off. I'm pushing myself to the limit. I'm not doing anything extravagant or crazy with my money. Why is my wealth not going up? Well, because you're in a system that is not designed for you to build wealth. It's not designed for you to get ahead. That requires some unique thinking in order for that to happen. So, for example, when we're training children in the Black Business School, we have a model we call the POISE model, POISE. You should have your kids memorize this. POISE stands for Producer, Owner, Investor, Saver, Entrepreneur. Producer, Owner, Investor, Saver, Entrepreneur. If you want to get ahead in America, you must be one of those things. Producer, not consumer. Owner, not just a renter. Saver, not just a spender. Investor, not just a person who tricks off their money, not just a borrower. entrepreneur, you got to be the boss of something. You ain't got to be the boss of everything, but you got to have something that you own, or at least have entrepreneurial skills, because entrepreneurs can see and create opportunities. Employees, unfortunately, can only see opportunities when they appear as a job application on LinkedIn. That's why LinkedIn is so popular. If you go to LinkedIn right now and put up a post and say, "Hey, I know of a place that's hiring," you'll have tons of people that will respond to that because everybody's seeking the job in order to get the money. And I'm gonna just tell you, as a person who understands wealth at a very deep level, I studied it like a science. I studied it like a mother studies their child. I studied economics and wealth 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year long, including Christmas, from the time I was 18 till the time I was 31. And then I got my doctorate, and then I started really learning stuff. Then at that point, I was a baby. When I got my PhD, I was like a financial baby in the sense that I knew more than 99% of the population. It's very hard to get the PhD, but since that time, I've supplemented that because I've been studying ever since. So I can tell you that never do I wake up and say, "Oh yeah, you want to make money. The best way to do that is to go get a job," because I understand how this economy works. I don't talk to my kids about jobs. They bring it to me because I'm their bonus dad. So as their bonus dad, I have to counter all the other messages they might get from other people who are still doing it the same way. But when they come talk to me, I don't even bring up the word job. I'm like, well, you can do it if you want to. If you want to do it the hard way, sure. If you got to go get a job for a while until you learn how hard that is, then go do it. And I'm not here to, I'm here to support any dream that you have, any goal that you have. But what I say is, if I say, look, if you want my opinion, number one, I don't think you have to define yourself by a career. That's occupying too much of your life. You got other things to do in your life other than being somebody's employee. And then number two, if you really want to make money, if you ever want to make money, just come talk to me. Maybe you're 17, okay, maybe when you're 22 or 23, come talk to me and I can tell you everything I know, and I'll tell you where the money's at, right? Where to go. It's over here. It's not over there. So anyway, with that being said, one thing I want to mention really quickly is, and I'm going to actually talk about Trump for a minute in a second too. But I wanted to mention to you guys really quickly that if that I have a wealth guide that you guys can pick up if you want to go pick it up. It's at drboycefinance.com, and it's sort of something built around sort of what rich and elite people do in order to make money and build wealth and stuff like that. So drboycefinance.com, write that down if you see it. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you is I sent it out, but I want to make sure everybody gets access to it if you want to see it. It's a list of commodities that you can own right now. Right now, the economy is kind of really shaky. And because the economy is acting weird, and it's getting weirder because you have a president that is just so committed to this tariffs thing that I don't think he realizes what long-term damage he's going to cause to the economy. Maybe he's secretly a genius and has just some knowledge or skill set that none of us know about. And if that comes to pass, then I'll acknowledge that. But right now, based on most indicators that I see, everything he's doing right now is kind of a mistake, particularly and his approval rating showing that his approval rating's never been lower when it comes to the economy, which has to be embarrassing for him because he takes pride in running the country like a business and all this other stuff that people like to say. We talked about how the tariffs are a bad idea. They're inflationary. They also just break down long-held economic relationships and create instability. And sometimes instability is required to adjust a relationship. But I think he's kind of doing it the wrong way. But then on top of that, he's created uncertainty because he's not being consistent with the policy. I didn't know a president could be that unilateral in decision making on important economic issues like that. I just didn't know that. I'd never seen that before. And then the third thing that he did that really was really bad, sort of salt on the wound on top of that, was this weekend. You might have noticed that he talked about, let's see, the link doesn't work. Okay, Chelsea says the link does not work. Let me just stop right here. Does the link work? If you click on that link that I just shared with you, does it take you somewhere good? If it doesn't, then I can get it fixed and I can text it out later. Okay, someone says he has dementia. Okay, the link does not work. Yeah, sorry about that. I gotta get it fixed. I'll text it out to you. If you want to get on the text list, text the word morning to the number 87948. So you can text morning to 87948 and you'll get an invitation to this class. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. It's supposed to work. It's like it worked today, it's not working for me either. So sorry about that, guys. I'll get it fixed. But anyway, so the other huge mistake that Trump made when it came to the economy was he actually spoke publicly about wanting to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Jay Powell, that's his name. And that's a big problem. The president should not be saying that. What that does, the reason, first of all, it's just a violation of long-held principles of independence between the executive branch and the Federal Reserve. The president in the United States historically, the president of the United States is not supposed to go around dictating monetary policy. That is not that is not cool. That is not legitimate. That is not respected around the world. That violates one of the things that led to what they call American exceptionalism. America was an exceptional place to invest for a very long time because we had the rule of law, and the rule of law pretty much meant like, okay, some order up in here. We're not just sort of doing things willy-nilly and chaotically. We actually are we have these checks and balances in place to make sure that if you put money here, the money's going to be safe. You don't have to worry about something happening like in some third world country where the president gets in office and just decides he wants to nationalize your business and take all your property. In the US, you will have some protections. Well, with Trump, he's undermining a lot of that. He's unfortunately, and I want to just repeat this. I'm a person who didn't vote for Trump or Biden. I told you I voted for Cornel West, and I don't care what people think about that. It's I think you have a right to vote for whoever you want. And so long story short, he's kind of unfortunately behaving like a third world dictator. And a lot of people don't like that. They're like, wait, this is not typically what's supposed to happen in the United States. And so this really says like those who were anti-Trump, it shows that they were kind of right about, about what kind of president he would be. And it's becoming evident more and more every day. Now, here's what is happening right now in the US economy. This is the economy that you're dealing with. You're dealing with rising inflation due to tariffs. This is starting to become confirmed. You're dealing with a slowing economy. Consumer spending, which was the strongest variable in the economy, is starting to show signs of weakness. You're also dealing with a weakening dollar. You're dealing with potential fractures in the liquidity of the system. Liquidity is as important, if not more important, than actual profitability and all that stuff. Liquidity is basically it comes mostly from the bond market. The bond market is essential in the United States because that's how we fund this government. It's almost like imagine somebody being deep in debt and they're living off their credit card. Like that's kind of what our country's doing. We're living off a credit card. And imagine if the credit card company charges a higher interest rate or decides to cut off your credit altogether. That would put you in severe economic jeopardy. So the United States, by living off the bond market in order to fund the entire government, is running into scenarios where people are not wanting to buy U.S. bonds the way they did before. And that's of deep concern as well. So you've kind of got all these different variables. Also, jobs. Eventually, the unemployment numbers should reflect the recession that many experts believe that we're already in. I believe the market's kind of already priced a lot of that in. If you want to know the long term in terms of what I'm doing in terms of investing, I'm just remaining consistent. When things go down, I just keep buying as much as I can and just hold on to stuff because eventually it will pass. But America as a whole is shifting for sure. We still have great companies. We have the best companies in the world. It's not the end of the world. It's not doom and gloom. So one of the things I always have to make sure I mention as well is stop listening to your friends that are telling you that this is the proof that the whole economic system is going to collapse. And all. They've been saying that stuff for 200 years. I mean, ever since there was an economy, people have been saying people make so much money writing books telling you, they in 1995 they were like by the year 1999 the dollar's gonna collapse and the economy's gonna be dead and the stock market ain't gonna exist no more. And then in 1999, when it doesn't happen, they write another book. Well, really, what I meant was the year 2004. In 2004, it's over, y'all. It's over, right? And the whole time, people that are investing consistently were making money. So stop. I know fear is a great motivator. I know fear gets the most response. Fear is a driver for a lot of things that people do, but you can't live in fear. You operationalize. You look at what's there and you accept the idea that in any economy, there's always some type of opportunity if you know how to play the game right. Now, quick reminder, don't forget May 9th and 10th, we're having the Economic Elevation Summit in Miami. If you want to join us in Miami, just go to economicelevation.summit.com. And the offer still stands for everybody in this class. If money is an obstacle or maybe you can only afford half the price for the ticket or whatever, just let our team know and they'll work with you. If you show that you're taking a class in the Black Business School or something like that, you can show your receipt and we can maybe use that as your entrance. I just don't want that to be the reason that you can't participate. I want everybody to get that chance to do what they got to do. So if you have a request like that, just email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Now, I want to show y'all something that I thought was I thought it was hilarious. And I'm proud of myself right now. So I'm going to show y'all this little video. It's a cat video. So yeah, Dr. Boyce is now making cat videos because he's a weirdo. But y'all should have known that by now. So let me pull this up and actually let me see if I can fix something real quick. Hold on. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, and this is something that I thought was really funny. I put it on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance in case you want to follow me on the gram. And so let me show you all this. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. All right, so let me hit the button, and it's a cat drinking a cup of coffee. This also shows the power of AI, right? Which I think is worth paying attention to as well. So here is now. Assume y'all can see the cat, and I think I hit the sound share. Let me make sure I'm hitting the sound share button. Give me 1 second. Shanita says I love cat videos. Well, I do too. I love this cat video. All right, so all right, one more. Okay, this is the last time I've hit that button. Okay, let me make sure the audio's on. Hold on. Here we go. All right. So check this out. So this is in celebration of my book being a #1 bestseller on Amazon. I don't know if y'all know that, but I'm really proud of that because we didn't use any goofy celebrity endorsements. We don't have any mainstream media coverage. We don't do any corporate partnerships with anybody that disagrees with our values. We have to be independent because we're pro-black 100%, and the world is not ready for that. So the book became a #1 bestseller on Amazon. It's my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. So I'm celebrating with a cat video. So check this out. I did this myself. What? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? I thought I loved it. I had so much fun. My wife was like, "You're a weirdo," but I was having so much fun. I was like, "Look at this video I made." I'm laying there next to the bed. I was showing her the cat drinking the cup of coffee. Here, I'll play it again because I know y'all love it as much as I. You have to. You got to love this. Cat drinking coffee. Come on now. Come on. Seriously. Look at that. He's got my book. How did the cat get a hold of my book? That's a really smart cat. Even the cats in Black economics. And I like the rocket thing because it just represents where we're going. We're going to the top. Man. We taking this to the moon. We going beyond the solar system. We are taking things out of this world. So thank you for being a part of that journey. And I just believe we got it. We got the juice. We can't be stopped. We are #1. Well, I think we're ranked on #1 on the planet when it comes to black wealth and black economic intelligence. Not just me, not just the Black Business School. I'm talking about all of you because you're a part of all this. And I just appreciate the fact that you guys are joining me in the morning and hanging out with us and stuff like that. So anyway, if you want to get discounted copies of the book, by the way, we have hundreds of you that are Black Wealth ambassadors where you're in business with us. You're actually taking autographed copies of my book that we're selling to you at a 70% discount, and you're building book clubs with it. That's what I kind of would hope you do is build a book club, read books like this together with people that you love. You're forming investment clubs. You got to take action, invest in something. And then also, a lot of you are just, using it as a business, right? So what good am I as your teacher if I don't help you put more money in your pocket? That's the goal. That's the need. That's the objective for all of us. So if you want to get discounted copies of the book, you can go to 10commandments.boycewatkins.com. The number 10, 10commandments.boycewatkins.com. You hit a couple links and we'll ship the book to you. And I know before we had a few delays because there are thousands of orders that came in and my poor team was kind of overwhelmed, but they got it done. Now we've got more in stock and we can, I'll sign every single book and you can tell people that my autograph is in that book and I will sign that every book personally for you. So 10commandments.boycewatkins.com. Okay, guys, let's get on out of here. I will send that commodities list out to you again. I have no idea why the link doesn't work. I'm looking at it. It's supposed to work. There's nothing that tells me that it should not be working today. And I don't know why, but you'll get something from me. So make sure you're you're on the text list, text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. And if you want to get the private wealth guide, you can go to drboycefinance.com. I did confirm that that works. The other one, I have no clue. We'll get to the bottom of it. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.